Have you ever held an old yellowed letter in your hands and felt the weight of a century's worth of love, loss, and unspoken words? Imagine this, it's 1864. The air is thick with the smell of gunpowder and the sounds of battle. You're a young soldier, thousands of miles from home, and you know you might not survive the next engagement. What would you write in your last letter to your family? Today, we're stepping back in time to explore one of the most poignant artifacts of the American Civil War, the last letters home. These weren't just messages, they were a final, desperate reach for connection, a way to send love across a war-torn country. One of the most famous of these letters was written by Major Sullivan Ballou of the 2nd Rhode Island Infantry. He wrote to his wife, Sarah, just a week before the First Battle of Bull Run, where he would be mortally wounded. His words are so powerful they transcend time. He writes, "Sarah, my love for you is deathless. It seems to bind me with mighty cables that nothing but omnipotence could break." Think about that. In the face of almost certain death, his primary thought was of his love for his wife. He wasn't writing about glory or politics. He was writing about a love so profound it felt eternal. Ballou's letter gives us a window into the soul of a soldier. He acknowledges the patriotic cause he's fighting for, but his heart is clearly at home. He speaks of his inexpressible love for his children and his deep bond with Sarah. He even describes his premonitions of death, writing, "The indications of my death are very strong upon me. I have had them for several days, it's chilling to read." He's facing his own mortality with a strange sense of calm, his main concern being the pain his death will cause his beloved Sarah. He begs her not to mourn him too deeply, to remember the happy times they shared, and to raise their boys to honor his memory. It's a testament to the human spirit's capacity for love and sacrifice even in the darkest of times. But Sullivan Ballou was not unique. Thousands of similar letters were written by soldiers on both sides of the conflict, Union and Confederate alike. These men were farmers, blacksmiths, teachers, and shopkeepers who had been thrust into a brutal war. Their letters often followed a similar pattern. They'd start with reassurances, "I am well," or "I hope this letter finds you in good health." This was crucial in a time when news traveled slowly and was often unreliable. Just knowing a loved one was alive was a profound relief. Then, they'd often share snippets of camp life. They'd complain about the food, the infamous hardtack and salt pork, or describe the long, monotonous marches. They'd talk about the weather, the mud, the boredom broken by sudden moments of terror. These mundane details are what make the letters so real. It wasn't all grand battles and heroic charges. For most soldiers, war was a long, grueling test of endurance. One soldier from Georgia wrote home about how much he missed his mother's cooking, specifically her biscuits. It's a small, human detail that makes his experience incredibly relatable over 150 years later. Of course, the letters also touch upon the grim reality of war. They describe the loss of comrades, the roar of cannons, and the fear that was a constant companion. But they often did so with a sense of duty and patriotism. A Union soldier might write about preserving the Union, while a Confederate would speak of defending his home state. Yet, underneath the political rhetoric, you find a common thread of longing for peace and a return to normalcy. They dreamed of coming home, of working their farms, of holding their children again. One soldier wrote, "I long for the day when this cruel war will be over, and I can return to your loving arms." That sentiment was universal. These letters were also practical. Soldiers would often send money home, whatever little they had, to help support their families. They'd ask for news from their town, about neighbors, about the crops. They were trying to maintain a connection to the world they had left behind, a world that continued to exist without them. Imagine the desperation of waiting for a letter, a tangible piece of paper that had been held by your loved one, carrying their scent and their thoughts. For families back home, these letters were lifelines. They were read and reread, shared among relatives, and treasured as sacred objects. And then there were the final farewells, like Sullivan Ballou. Many soldiers sensed when their time was short. In the quiet moments before a major battle, they would take out a pencil and paper to pen what they knew might be their last words. These final letters are heartbreakingly honest. They contain final instructions, expressions of faith, and profound declarations of love. A young private from Alabama wrote to his father, "If I am killed in the coming fight, do not grieve for me. I die for my country." He then asked his father to tell his sweetheart that his last thought was of her. These messages serve as a soldier's last will and testament, not of property, but of emotion. They were an attempt to find meaning in their sacrifice and to offer comfort to those they would leave behind. The writers often spoke of their belief in God and the hope of a reunion in the afterlife. This faith provided a source of immense comfort in the face of unimaginable violence. A letter might end with, "We will meet again in heaven, where there are no more wars or partings," for a grieving family. Those words would have been a beacon of hope in a sea of sorrow. The journey of these letters was often as perilous as the lives of the men who wrote them. They were carried by fellow soldiers, entrusted to army chaplains, or sent through a sometimes unreliable military postal system. Sometimes, a letter would arrive after the news of the soldier's death, becoming a voice from beyond the grave. And tragically, many final letters were never sent. They were found in the pockets of fallen soldiers on the battlefield, their ink smudged by blood and rain. These silent messengers, discovered by friend or foe, tell a story of their own, a final, unfulfilled wish to connect with home one last time. Studying these letters today is more than just a history lesson, it's a deeply human experience. They strip away the politics and the grand strategies of the Civil War and reveal the personal cost. They remind us that history is not just about dates and battles. It's about people, people who loved, feared, and hoped, just like we do. Sullivan Ballew's beautiful prose has made his letter famous, but it represents the unspoken feelings of countless others whose words may have been simpler, but whose love was just as deep. These letters are a powerful legacy. They show us the importance of connection, the enduring power of love, and the profound sacrifices made by ordinary people in extraordinary times. They ask us to remember not just how these soldiers died, but how they lived and who they loved. They are a final farewell, a last whisper of "I love you" sent across the battlefield, a message that still resonates with us today. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey back in time. If you found this story as moving as I did, please hit the like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the human stories behind history. Let me know in the comments what you think. What would you have written in your final letter? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.